Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Nerd Mode On, and today I actually want to talk with you about ways to reduce the amount of gas spam that is currently available in Battlefield 1. Now, before we start talking about ways to reduce the problem, let's define why this is a problem to begin with. Players have gravitated towards throwing gas canisters all around the map regardless of if it plays a role in reducing the enemy's ability to enter or exit a part of the map. Capture zones are infested with enemy and friendly gas. Friendly gas causes you to be completely suppressed, which significantly reduces accuracy of marksman weapons and sniper rifles. The gas canisters change the core mechanics of a first-person shooter and alter the types of engagements that players are likely to experience, since the gameplay facilitates a more hands-off experience when it comes to the combat. So as you guys can see and will have felt when you play Battlefield 1, there is a significant problem when it comes down to the amount of players utilizing gas when it comes down to a significant portion of the maps. This problem becomes more prevalent when you play the Operations game mode, considering that you have 64 players trying to fight for a very small capture zone, so ultimately this isn't going to necessarily facilitate a whole lot of tactics by either team, it's actually going to facilitate just the opposite. So now that we've underlined one of the core issues with Battlefield 1, let's further talk a little bit about some of the improvements that DICE could end up utilizing, considering that there are ways to significantly reduce this issue in Battlefield 1. For starters, DICE could allocate the gas canister to only the medic class. Now some of you guys might be asking yourself, why should the medic class get the gas canisters? For starters, we don't want to give the gas canisters to the assault class because they already have some of the best close range weapons that are currently available in Battlefield 1. The assault class possesses the ability to destroy vehicles and significantly maim enemy players. In addition to this, we don't want to give the gas canisters to the support class because they have the ability to replenish ammunition and other gadgets by simply waiting a few seconds for the timer to strike zero, which provides them with the requested items they desire. This class has already created a significant problem for the Battlefield series over the last few Battlefield titles, since it creates a problem where players will wait for explosive gadgets to replenish, which reduces the gun-on-gun aspect of a first-person shooter. And last but certainly not least, we don't want to allocate the gas canisters to the scout class because normally these players are not close to the action or the objective. This class is designated for players to have the ability to spot and communicate enemy locations to their teammates so that they can dispose of them in ways that the scout class can't do in these close to medium range engagements. While it may seem like a good idea to give this class the ability to equip gas canisters so that players are not experiencing the negative effects of this piece of equipment, we still want to have this piece of equipment be usable so that it can make a difference on the battlefield. Now with that being said, it would be the best idea to give the medic class the gas canisters because the weapons in this specific class are designated to be used at medium range. The benefits of allowing players to utilize their gadgets and create a deadly cloud of gas that could easily enable them to push the enemy back would result in better class symmetry. The medic class would be used by more players, which allows for more team play to occur, and the gas canisters would be used far less common than they are currently being deployed. Now that is just one solution to resolving the issue. Of course, we could go in a completely different direction and talk about changing some of the aspects of gas canisters altogether. For starters, DICE could reduce the amount of gas canisters that players are able to spawn with from 2 down to 1. They could also significantly increase the amount of time it takes for new canisters to replenish. DICE could significantly reduce the chance that gas will go through walls and harm players. Surprisingly, Battlefield 4 also suffered a very similar issue in this specific area where gadgets and pieces of equipment would leach their way through the wall and harm players in the end. It is kind of a surprise that this issue did find its way into the full release of Battlefield 1, but I do imagine that it will be resolved in the coming months. Now in addition to this, they can make alterations to the edges of the gas so that it doesn't inflict full damage when players barely touch the outer rim of the gas. From a design standpoint, I'm not really sure why they went with a blanket damage model when it came down to the gas, considering that if you were able to barely touch the gas in real life, of course you wouldn't inflict the same negative side effects as standing right in the midst of it. Now if you couple this with a current bug in Battlefield 1 when it comes down to the gas canisters, sometimes gas is almost transparent or other times it's completely invisible and you will be inflicted with the full damage of running through the cloud. So when it really comes down to it, I do imagine that some of the things that we talked about in the second solution will ultimately be resolved, considering that they are groundbreaking bugs when it comes down to the gameplay of Battlefield 1. However, it does not go without saying that there are issues with the gas canisters in Battlefield 1. The prevalence of this utensil when it comes down to the amount of players utilizing it is definitely very frightening when it comes down to the actual reality of Battlefield 1. Now, while World War I did utilize gas, and of course this was a very important part of World War I, just the frequency that you're experiencing it in Battlefield 1 is a little ridiculous considering that it's being utilized by many players in a quantity that is not realistic to the time period. But anyway guys, that's really all the information I have for you. Of course, if there's anything I happen to miss when it comes down to some solutions that you guys feel would revolutionize Battlefield 1 and really fix some of the issues that we talked about here today, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, considering that I'm only one person, and of course as a community we can make alterations to Battlefield 1 and strive to make it the game that it should have been on release. But with that being said, I hope you found something in the video insightful and or entertaining, but until the next episode guys, this has been NMO, and I'm going to be signing out guys. Peace!